everyone! This is Remleiz from 40k Theories, and welcome to this new episode of Adeptus Podcastus. Unfortunately, Tactica won't be joining us this episode. They've got mummy duty, I'm afraid. It happens when you got a kid, I'm sure. But don't worry, I'm not alone this week, for joining me as my guest this week is Voice Quills.
Hi, how's it going?
Hello, thank you for coming on.
No worries, thank you for having me.
So, for those listening who may not be familiar with your work, would you like to give us a brief introduction into what you do?
Sure, yeah. So, I'm Voice Quills, also known as Ashley Heather Quills. I am a voice actor, as well as, I guess, YouTube. Am I allowed to swear in the show? Are we good to swear?
Yeah, it's fine, you're fine now, yeah, we're about a minute in,
All right.
so it's fine.
Alright, nice, cool. Yeah, so I'm a YouTube shit poster. I mainly just post memes on there. And yeah, I voice act in a bunch of stuff. You may have heard me in, various indie games, things like Project Absentia, They Speak from the Abyss, the base one in Zenith, and my big resume topper, Warframe.
Ooh, very nice. I'll be honest, I didn't know about the Warframe thing, I'll be honest.
I came out in it was the Daggett update from like October 2023. So it was kind of like mainly quality of life, and I was kind of like, here's this one little mission where I voiced like a bunch of people on a haunted spaceship. So
Fair enough.
so yeah.
And people may also recognise your voice from a recent Theory video of ours as well, as the Spirit of Eternity.
Yes, I love voicing angry AI. It's wonderful. Especially when they get to be a bit sassy about it too.
I'll be honest, I reached out for you for that role purely because of that shitpost you did with the same characters. I was like, yeah, perfect.
Yeah, that one was a lot of fun to do. Like, getting to be really, like... Because it's one thing I... When it comes to voicing AI stuff especially, when they're like, they have genuine emotion, and it's not just like, I speak like this, and I am a robot, and like you get to actually get just fully emotional with it. It's so good. And getting to like tear the mechanic as a new one with, because I love those lines so much. It's so good.
It was such a great scene from that book. For those wondering, it's Death of Integrity, so go read that book because it's actually really good.
Mm-hmm.
And speaking of really good, in the news this week, after God knows how long of waiting, Astartes 2 has been teased. Yes, this was a welcome surprise. It's not coming out until 2026 though, so you got a bit of a wait, I'm afraid. But from what we've seen so far, we've seen a total of 5 different chapters, including the Retributors from the original series, the Scythes of the Emperor, not to be confused with the Emperor's Scythes, the Blood Angels, the Sons of Medusa, and the Mortifactors.
Oh, I cannot wait. It looks like, I know a lot of the clips that we saw from the teaser were ones that we saw from previous teasers that were put out. But like the extra bits we saw with the Tyranids, the Orcs, and the Tau fighting, like the animation work is just so incredible. It's so well done. I can't wait to see the full thing. And if I remember right, apparently all the clips we've seen aren't even what the main show is going to be. These are like backstory clips of the characters that are going to be in the main show when it comes out.
Yeah, according to the Warhammer community article, it says it's a compilation of shots that represent the former lives of the characters that will appear in the show. So if I had to guess, judging from that, I'm guessing it's going to be a Death Watch story.
Yeah.
Because that's the only thing I can think of, former lives, like a whole bunch of different chapters all coming together. It's like, it's got to be like a Death Watch kill team or something as the final plot point.
And I think bar like 1 or 2 shots, all the enemies were Xenos. I think there was a handful where like you could kind of make out that they were humans, or at the very least like some kind of traitor like group. So
yeah, I think one was Chaos. Yeah. One thing people did point out, I think it was in regards to the Mortifactor scene. Apparently, in the original teaser, that was actually supposed to be a Lamenter.
Oh.
So they've changed that.
Aw, come on, the Lamenters need more love. They need something good.
I think that might be purely on the basis that, well, we got the Blood Angels, we don't really need the Lamenters as well.
True. But still, the Lamenters they need something good to happen to them. They need some good rep out there.
True. Because you got like Imperial Fist and the Retributors, got Blood Angels, you got the Iron Hands and the Sons of Medusa, and you got Ultramarines and both the Mortifactors and Scythes of the Emperor. So they probably could have had the Lamenters in, but I don't know.
Yeah, I guess we'll have to see. I mean, it does look like it's going to be, like, just incredible, because I've rewatched the original Astartes, like, at least a dozen times at this point. I'm just kind of silently crossing my fingers and hoping I get a chance to audition and voice something. Just please, please, I'll take anything.
Fingers crossed. You never know unless you try, so...
Yeah? Like, I did, like, quote tweet some post, like, someone, like, shared the teaser, and I was like, I'm begging on my hands and knees, I'll do anything, please. I'll voice, like, Guardsman number 3 that just screams when they get shot, you know? They get hit by, like, a devourer, and then just die, and that's it. That's my entire role. I'll take that.
Practice your Wilhelm scream.
Oh, I have learned I can do some pretty gnarly screams. I shouldn't do them here at my desk because I will blow out the microphone. But I have a very diverse range of screams, which I'm sure there'll be an opportunity to hear them at some point.
I'm sure there will be, yeah. And speaking of also awesome things, or speaking of other awesome things rather, we got some new reveals for Horus Heresy, specifically that of the Mechanicum, starting with the Arcuitor Magisterium, which is frankly an absolutely gorgeous model.
Yes! Oh my god, I was looking at this earlier. It looks so good!
It does. So basically, these guys are the ones who basically police the faith of other members of the Mechanicum. Like, if you're a heretic, then no, you're going to get shot and servitude, essentially. Basically, no tech heresy allowed as far as these guys are concerned, and I love the crab claw servo harness.
Yes.
I love that.
I was just looking at those. They almost one of them almost looks like a pair of scissors, but it's just so... I love it when they get weird with like the mechadendrite and servo stuff. Rather than just being like a little like metal claw hand, like little crab claws is so good.
And can we also appreciate the little scribe buddy with the little quill hound? Hand rather than quill hound. My thing, I can't talk. Bloody hell.
Quill hound would be a pretty cool thing, actually, now I think about it. Just imagine like I don't know, some kind of... It must be some kind... Oh, what are they called in 40k again? The
Glanhounds.
No, the like the not demi-humans. I'm thinking Elden Ring on that one. The mixed like kind of like beastmen kind of thing, but they're still like loyalist. Yes, like a dog abhuman like thingy, a scribe, a quillhound.
That could work, yeah. And also a good thing about this guy is that if you take them as part of your army, you can also take a manipul of Arlatax Battle Automata or Vorax Battle Automata without taking up a Force organizational slot. And as someone who loves their Vorax, yes please.
Ooh.
Yes, indeed. And sticking with Horus Heresy and the Mechanicum, the Secutari Axiarch.
Yes.
I know the Secutari have been discontinued for a while, but this gives me hope that we'll get some new models for them. And he looks awesome.
Yeah, the way the armor looks is so... It's almost like a walking pillbox.
Yes. Yes, that's actually a great way of describing it.
Because I remember I was reading the post about it. Isn't it like the armor is made out of like shards of like fallen titans? Is how like the armor's made, yeah. Yes,
exactly. And because these guys are in charge of... They're basically like bodyguards for titans, as silly as that may sound, because, you know, sometimes actually have like literal stairs on their feet, is to stop people climbing into them, essentially. So, no, get away, I boop you with my big stick.
They're like the security guards at concerts, just like beating people back.
Essentially, I mean, they are called Secutari, so security. And speaking of Horus Heresy still, you know how we had the Siege of Terror novels recently?
Yes.
We're getting one last final concluding anthology called The Era of Ruin.
Oh.
So hopefully this will be wrapping up some final loose ends, and this has some, frankly, amazing new artwork of the Eternity Gate, though it has caused a little bit of confusion and controversy. Well, I say controversy, that's a very strong word, but people confused saying like, hang on, weren't they meant to be Reaver Titans?
Yeah, I think every time I've ever seen like anything to do with the palace on Terra, I think the scale changes every single time it's depicted and like how big the Eternity Gate actually is.
Yeah, because I know in the novel The Carrion Throne, they are outright stated to be Reaver Titans rather than Warhounds, which are pictured on the book here. But considering it's been like, you know, over 10,000 years, they probably just, you know, swap the Titans out eventually. Who knows?
Yeah.
You can easily justify that way, so...
Yeah, I mean, there's only so many Titans running around anyway, so...
Yeah, exactly. And this is also going to come out in a limited edition as per usual, and as per usual, it looks gorgeous. And fun fact, This was actually originally leaked all the way back in August.
Oh my god.
Yeah, Games Workshop hasn't actually like mentioned anything official until like, last week or so. But like, yeah, someone actually has a copy of that in hand already and shared it all over the internet back in August.
Oh. God, it does look so good though. Like
it really does. Yeah.
The binding and everything looks so nice.
I love the Shattered Aquila as well.
Oh yeah.
It's almost as if like one half of it's an eagle, the other half is like a vulture.
Oh yes, no, I see exactly what you mean. Yeah, especially with the way the feathers are all like messed up. That is
And, like, the beak in it as well, yeah.
Yeah, that is way more vulture. That is so good actually.
It really is. Now, jumping ahead somewhat, we're also getting some new store anniversary event miniatures. Firstly, for Age of Sigmar, we're getting a Skaven Clawlord called Ketek Throatbite, who, let's be honest, yeah, he looks pretty damn awesome, I must say.
Like,
especially with his little rat buddy on his shoulder.
Wait, oh, he does have a little rat buddy. Aww. I was too focused on like the kind of Qatar like punch dagger kind of thing he's got going on.
I'm trying to remember if it actually had like a different name for it.
Yeah, because I guess like Qatar.
Is it Jamadar?
Jamadar, I think so. Yeah, I think it might be it. Because yeah, it's more of like a claw than like an actual dagger or anything.
Yeah. And for 40k, we're also getting a brand new Genestealer Cult Primus. And he's alright. Not as good as the Skaven, I feel.
Yeah, I can. Yeah, it's.
He just seems
fine.
like he's there.
He's a dude. Though I've had a weird thing where like I love the Tyranids, but Genestealer cults never really caught me. They've never really been a big fan until I played the 40k Tyranid deck, which has a mix of like normal Tyranids and Genestealer cult stuff going on, and then I kind of got more of a fondness. So I don't know.
Magic, was it?
Yeah, so Magic the Gathering did they had 4 decks. They had the Imperium, Chaos, Tyranids, and Necrons. Were like the 4 like commander decks you could buy. And Tyranids you could have, they always have in these like pre-con commander decks. You can have 2, they come with basically 2 different commanders you can choose from. There's like the one that's the front. So for the Tyranids it's the Swarm Lord, he's like the main commander. But the other one is a Genestealer cult Psyker called Magus Lucia Kane. Who I much prefer because she's way more powerful. But they've got some fun stuff in there, like Gersten Starn, who's like a 3-armed Genestealer cultist who has like 3 auto stubbers, like 1 on each hand as his art. There's like the full aberration ones, like the big hulking monstrosity, like hybrids. And then they've got the more like sneaky ones. There's like Genestealers that apply infection, which then when the enemy like monster dies, they then become your cards. You like take control of them. So that's
pretty cool.
Yeah, I think
very much like an old Wololo moment.
Kind of, yeah. But they've also fun stuff where it's like they have Turvagons, which whenever they deal combat damage, I think, to a player, they create that many 1/1 Tyranid tokens, I think, or something like that, like equal to their power, something like that. They just create a lot of little guys.
Fair enough. I'll take you word on it because I've not played Magic the Gathering, so I'll just take your word on it.
You're missing out. You're missing out.
I'll be honest, like, the only card game I've really played is Hearthstone, and which, funny enough, has actually had like a StarCraft crossover recently as well.
Oh, did it?
Yeah. It's part of the newest expansion, which is like all space themed, so there's like a whole StarCraft subset now.
Ah, I've not played Hearthstone in so long.
Yeah, I'll be honest, it's a little bit, it's really bloated now because there's so many keywords.
Yeah.
Like, you got Spell Burst and you got Inspire and you have like, obviously Death Rattle, Taunt, Charge, Rush, Reborn. It's like, oh God, so much shit.
It is kind of like that in Magic, to be honest. It does get to the point where like only so many cards explain what each keyword does on the text, and you have to end up Googling like, does this do this again? What's this one? What's the difference between Explore and Discover?
Yeah, I can imagine. Very quickly going back to the event Primus, I have to say, comparing him to like the standard one you can get, the standard one looks so much better in my opinion.
Oh yeah, no, you're right. There's way more detail on him. Like, even the posing, I think, is better. It's a bit more commanding, I guess is the word I'm looking for. Like,
Yeah, he looks more like he's saying, like, that way to victory, as opposed to, like, the new one, which just like, yeah, shoot.
Yeah, it looks a little bit like he's been caught, like, smuggling, and he's, like, shooting on the run, while the regular Primus looks actually like he's, doing something.
Yeah, he's doing his job.
Yeah. Plus, like, he's got more belts, and he's got, like, an actual, like the cloak looks, like, bigger and, like, more imposing.
It looks more like a proper trench coat than the old one. Because with it split on the tail.
Oh, yeah. No, like, and he's even got, like, the little, like, Genius of the Occult logo hanging from his belt.
Though I am willing to concede that we might not be able to see the split from the angle on the new one.
True.
In fairness. Just because of the leg and all that. So I'm willing to concede that. But yeah, funny enough, not too much else in the news this week. It seems to be mostly like Gloomspite Git related for Age of Sigmar, and I don't know enough about Age of Sigmar to really comment.
Yeah.
This is why Neve's normally here, because she like goes, I know Age of Sigmar, I can explain all this for you. But we had like a nice little article like giving us a little retrospective on the design of the Gloomspite over the years, which was pretty cool in fairness, because like went all the way back to like 4th edition fantasy and stuff like that.
Yeah, like the original, like old blocky, like 90s models.
Yeah. Which have so much charm to them, I have to say. Though one thing regarding the Gloomspite, which did annoy some people, I noticed, I just got to try and find the actual corresponding image, is in regards to the army box that's coming out for them. Let me see if I can find it.
Oh, I did see people complaining that it was very light.
Yeah. Okay, so the Gloomspite Git mob, the Wolf Riders, that's got an army box coming out, and it's 9 models.
Yeah, that's not great.
Don't get me wrong, I know like 2 of them are cavalry, one's a character, and they got like 2 like units of 3 Wolf Riders. But even so, 9 models with an army book, and that box is going to cost you at least, what, 120 quid probably?
That's just nasty. Like, ugh.
Yeah.
Yikes. Yeah,
like,
no.
Don't get me wrong. The models are lovely. They are fantastic, really like full of energy and motion, but is it really worth 120 quid for 9 models?
Yeah, that's really steep.
Yeah, I mean, I thought Blood of the Phoenix was overpriced when it was like £80 for like, oh god, I think it was something like 15 models. Hang on, let me try and find the box.
Because I know that's been a general complaint for a while now that like the price of the boxes seems to just keep spiraling upwards and upwards, but the amount in them is kind of either floating around the same or getting less. And
yeah. I mean, I know inflation is somewhat to blame in that regard, because it always is, because prices always keep going up every year. Cost of living crisis, something, like it sucks. But when you compare it to like the Blood of the Phoenix starter set, that was like 80 quid, or maybe 90 quid, I can't remember exactly. It was around that price range. And you had Jane Czar, a squad of Howling Banshees, a Falcon Grav Tank, a Viper jet bike, a squad of 5 Hellions, a Venom, 5. Is it? Yeah, 5. God, what are they called? The jump pack troops with the Drukhari. I've forgotten the names. Scourgers. That's it.
Yes.
5 Incubi and Drazar.
That's
as well as like a starting rule book and all that as well, and you got transfers as well. You got transfer sheets.
That's not too bad, honestly. It's still 80, 90 quid, but that's still a good amount of stuff in there.
Yeah, and that was like 8th edition, so only 2 editions ago.
God damn.
Yeah. God, yeah. It's very, very disheartening at points, especially when you remember like back in 3rd edition, you get like the starter army boxes, like a Space Marine start collecting box was like a squad of tactical marines, a squad of Terminators, a squad of bikes, a land speeder, and a set of ruined scenery, and that was like 50 quid.
Yeah. Like, I remember, what was it? I think when I played, I can't remember what edition of 40k I started in, but it was when it was the Assault on Blackreach, like, starter boxes there, the Ultramarines versus Orcs. The one that had the plastic Deathcopters that people would buy just to get the plastic Deathcopters.
Yes.
And like there was the Space Marine starter boxes then, and I remember it being like tactical Marines. I think there was a Razorback in there, or at least a Rhino Razorback like choice. I think maybe some
Something like
Scouts.
that,
Yeah, there was a good amount of stuff in there. Because I know I bought the Tau box back then, and that had like a Devilfish, some Fire Warriors, some drones. I think a Crisis Suit or two. Some crew, definitely some crew.
Mm.
And that would have been like 60.
I just did an inflation calculator, so that starter set from 3rd edition I mentioned, in today's money that would be about just shy of 94 quid.
Eek.
But even so, that you still get more than what you're getting from this box set now.
Yeah.
It's like you're basically getting 3 entire squads and a light vehicle and scenery.
Yeah. Yeah.
I mean, granted, it is the 3rd edition land speeder, which I think is a shit design. I always maintain that the 2nd edition land speeder was the best design land speeder they ever did.
I don't think I've seen either of those. I'm going to look them up. Let's see. 40k 2nd edition land speeder. I still find it hilarious they're called land speeders. They're called Archenland. That still is amazing to me.
Yeah.
Oh god, that is okay. 2nd edition is something. That's a model. Oh my god, the side view is even worse. 3rd edition.
I think it looks better from this angle.
Oh my god. That is prime old 40k. Like
the fact that the Space Marine helmets have actually got like a little gas mask respirators on. That's awesome. I love that.
It is pretty cool. Like, oh my god, and the colors are just so unapologetically bright. Oh my god. It's like, that's not gold, that's yellow. That is like neon yellow.
And when you compare it to like the 3rd edition land speeder,
I think that's the one.
Which looks like a flip-flop.
Okay, now that you say that, yeah, no, I see the flip-flop. I think that's the one I grew up with. I think that's the one that I saw. Yeah,
I maintain the second edition's better than the 3rd in that regard.
I don't know, 3rd one I think looks more like an actual vehicle.
It looks like a shoe.
It kind of does, but still, I don't know, it still works. I am a little confused by the little hatch in the back. I'm assuming that's probably a maintenance panel and you're not squeezing a 3rd Marine in the back there.
I mean, if you are, it's that one dwarf Marine from the Imperial Fist Death Watch.
Yeah. Oh, yeah.
Enough, I thought, what's his name?
Oh.
It's like Maximilian Voss or something like that.
Yes.
Like an Imperial Fist who's like only 6 feet tall.
Yeah.
It's like, he's a manlet.
Yeah. I think it was Astartes Anonymous did a little, like, a short talking about him. And that was I first found out about him. I've not seen that
short, but yeah.
Yeah, right. It's like, there's other Marines, like, take the piss out of him for being so small, and then, like, later on he comes in and just single-handedly, like, sweeps a whole squad of orcs or something, and just completely saves the day.
Oh yeah, he was an absolute beast in close combat. Genuinely, he was a beast.
Because I guess as well, if you're fitting all that, like, because they'll have the same amount of, like, implants and, like, the same amount of, like, the hormones and all the rest of it they pump into a Space Marine, but in a smaller package, it must be more dense, I guess? Like, it's more tightly packaged, so dude probably wrecked house, like, even more than a regular Space Marine.
Do you know, I would have loved to have seen him, like, interact with Hager the Mountain. You know, the fat space wolf.
Oh, yeah. Absolutely.
That would have been an interesting conversation. It's like, look at the little fist.
It'd be like,
fat boy.
if they teamed up, it would be like when, like, Hulk throws Wolverine in Marvel Rivals. It's that kind of thing.
I was thinking more like the Megabucks. You know, Ted DiBiase and Andre the Giant.
Oh my god.
That's a reference and a half. I mean, well, since Neve's not here, we've got to double up on the wrestling references, haven't we? So, there you go.
Sadly, I know nothing about wrestling.
Don't worry, you will. You'll learn soon enough.
I'm going to come out here a super fan.
I mean, fun enough, we did actually have Samoa Joe as a guest at one point, so...
No?
Yeah, he was like former AEW World Champion, so there you go.
Huh. Well, goddamn.
But going back to the news, there was a new rumor engine, which is a book.
My god, a book.
Yeah, so what do you reckon this could be? I reckon it's going to be some kind of like old world wizard.
Yeah, that probably seems the most likely. The glove as well, because it looks like they're wearing some kind of glove.
Yeah.
So...
And like the metal corners of the book as well. That seems to be more like, wizard's book.
Yeah, I can definitely see that. And they've been posting more old world stuff lately. Because they had that whole like Ulthuan reveal the other day.
Yeah, they did, yeah.
And I think they had some more like Empire, like made to order stuff, like a bunch of Empire models. So
Yeah, there was, because they did the War Wagon, but that's actually got a brand new hand sculpted model going out with it as well.
Ooh.
Which the guy did in his spare time.
Oh my
He's like,
God.
I got bored, so I made this new model. I was like, okay, yeah, we'll sell it.
But like, if they've already done because I saw they did the wizards as well for the Empire, so unless it's a non-Empire wizard, but those are very human proportioned hands.
Could be an elf.
Could be an elf. Could be an elf wizard. Unless it's like, it could be something Age of Sigmar, but I have zero idea.
It could be that as well, yeah.
Maybe some kind of like Ministorum thing for 40k, maybe? Some kind of priesty type?
Possibly? It's definitely something either wizardy or something priesty.
Yeah, it's one of those two. Usually they can
just
crack
don't
these.
know what.
I usually see like, people cracking these instantly. Like I saw there was one from ages ago where like they showed off some lightning and someone's like, yeah, that's gonna be like one of the Catan shards. And they're like, yeah, okay, yeah, you got it. Like instantly. It took like 2 minutes to crack.
Fun of that, there was also another rumor engine in the meantime as well, which is go away, fraps. I don't know why I activated. But yeah, there was another rumor engine, this time a trident. So I'm thinking it's either going to be Ideneth Deepkin, because they're like, the sea elves, essentially. It's either going to be them, or potentially the Emperor's Spears, because their signature weapon is a trident.
Okay.
So it could be that potentially, but I mean, I don't know if that looks a bit like a power coil field near the at the bottom of the head.
Near the base, yeah. The only thing I can think of that's completely out of left field, which I don't think they'll do, but unless they make the Vampire Coast from World War II fully canon, because technically oh god, what's his? Oh my, Luther Harkon is like a canon old world character. He was in one White Dwarf like section back in like the 90s, but he's canon.
It's not just that. He was also in at the very least he was in the 5th edition Lizardman Army book. He was mentioned.
Oh, okay. So there is,
because obviously the Vampire Coast is in Lustria, so it did a thing about the timeline of Lustria and all that.
So maybe they could come to tabletop. Maybe they could be in the old world, which would be pretty fun. Because I still think it's one of the most as cool as Age of Sigmar is, and like as big as it has grown, it is one of those like sad, I think, missteps where GW retired fantasy right when fantasy was hitting like a peak of interest from new players because of Total War. But this could maybe bring in some of those people who wanted to try the tabletop for fantasy after playing the Total War games if they go for the Vampire Coast.
Possibly.
But
though I don't think vampire counts are going to be a thing in Old World. I think they're just confined to like Legends rules. I think. Because I think they want the main undead army in Old World to be Tomb Kings, because you've got the vampires in Age of Sigmar, and they don't really want to do any like cross-pollination, which is why you're not getting Skaven in Old World, you're not getting Lizardmen in Old World. You are getting Beastmen in Old World purely because they went, fuck, we give up on Beastmen in Age of Sigmar, we can't be bothered dealing with anymore. They had like one model in like 5 years. Something stupid like that.
Because basically all I've really seen from Beastmen is they've kind of just made like Zangors, and like they kind of have like similar like chaos aligned gores, and that's kind of it, which makes me sad. I like Beastmen, they're fun.
They are. I take it you are a fan of the Beastman Bounty Hunter from Necromunda.
I think I remember seeing their model a while ago and thought they were pretty cool, but I've not seen them in a bit.
Fair enough. If you get a chance, read through the novel Kahl Jericho's Sinner's Bounty, because he's one of the main characters in that.
Oh.
Because the basic premise of that book is that Kahl Jericho ends up like creating like a all-star team of bounty hunters to help him like track down a bounty, and it's like him, the Beastman, Grendel Grendelson, the squad, and a couple of others who all like have models under the Forge World range.
Oh, that sounds really cool, actually.
It's really fun. It's one of those few novels that's just straight up fun. But I tell you what's not fun though is the changes Games Workshop made to Armies on Parade, which pissed a lot of people off when they said, oh, by the way, if you want to use kit bashing, you can't use cross-system parts, so you can't use any Old World or Age of Sigmar parts for a 40k army or anything like that. Yeah. And that pissed so many people off, including former Games Workshop staffers like Suggs and Peachy. But in fairness to Games Workshop, they did appear to have rolled that back because there was so much outrage about that. Okay, you can make the conversion using those parts. You just can't straight up use those full models. So you can't have like a full blown Orc war boss from Age of Sigmar in a 40k Orc army, but you can use bits from it.
Okay, that's fine. Yeah, okay. That's fair. I can see that one. That's a fair compromise.
It's one of those things Games Workshop turn around and says, like, I think we've done fucked up, let's roll back.
Yeah,
it's not often they admit they fucked up.
Yeah, I think the last time I remember seeing something like that was when I think it was was it the Golden Demon winner used an AI generated background?
Yeah,
and won.
There's so many people off, yeah.
And like, I guess some people are saying like, oh, it's just the background, but it's like, yeah, but they still used the theft engine for a piece of the art. They could have like found a stock image.
And it was part of the display, so...
Yes, yeah. So like, it's like, I am a little kind of like, I can kind of understand we've made the decision, they won, we can't rescind it now, but then in future, they then enshrined it like, yeah, if you use AI, then no, you're out. So, yeah. But they were just a bit slow on the uptake on that one.
Just a little bit, yeah. And that's pretty much it for the news. Again, not much this week, just mostly Gloomspite Git rules and, let's get hyped up for the Gits, let's get hyped up.
Yeah, because I looked through, because you gave me the homework of looking through the Warhammer articles, and I think there was about 7, like, Gloomgit, like, ones, where I was like, okay, yeah, I get it, okay, yeah, alright, I get it, I understand, this is, like, the new thing, please, I've read enough about them.
Yeah, I mean, there was also, like, an article about, the designs for the new Phoenix Lord models.
Yeah.
Which, don't get me wrong, like, the new Phoenix Lord models look great. New Summon looks great. New Fuegan looks great. New Baharov looks great. Lycus, the brand new Phoenix Lord, looks great. But there's one question. Where the fuck is Karandrus? He was my favourite.
Who's Karandrus?
The Striking Scorpion Phoenix Lord.
Oh, I was thinking when I was looking through, like, okay, we'll go, because they even showed off, like, in, like, a little close-up of, like, the different hairstyles they gave the different aspect warriors. They showed a Striking Scorpion, and then there was no mention of their Phoenix Lord. Like, huh? Where, what?
I miss my boy. He was my very first Phoenix Lord model as well.
Oh.
All the way back in 2nd edition.
Oh, damn.
Yeah.
See, I only had some Striking Scorpions in my army. Oh no, he does look cool. Oh, I actually gotta dig that design.
Also, one of the few Eldari figures with a power fist as well.
Oh, is that like the claw thing? He's got like the pincer.
Yeah, the scorpion claw. Yeah.
Yes, that's really cool. I can dig
with
that.
The inbuilt shuriken catapult.
Oh yeah, I can see it now. Oh my, that actually is a really cool model for like being quite an old one.
Yeah. Now, just imagine how he could look, like, with a proper glow-up like the other ones.
Oh, that would look so good! Especially, like, if they get him, like, in a proper pose and everything like the rest of them are. Oh, God. My only real...
Like something a bit more, like, something a bit more dynamic.
Yeah, than him just... He's kind of just A-posing there.
Yeah. Like, imagine if he was, like, I don't know, like crouching on top of, like a dead body, or like leaping over like a rock or something, or a tree branch or something, just like charge. It looks so cool.
Yeah, and you could have like, even if he's like crouching down somewhere, having like the chainsword raised up, kind of like a scorpion tail kind of thing. You could have like a lot of fun design, like posing him properly.
Yeah, or even just based off of this artwork of him over the dead Nid.
Oh, that is really. Oh, I like that.
Like, you have, like, a Nid carcass as the base, and he's, like, crouching over it, like, ripping into it with a sword out.
Yeah, no, but,
that looks so cool.
He's kind of giving, like, Predator vibes.
Yeah, I get what you mean.
I think it's, like, the Dreads. I think it's, like, the Dread kind of look he's got going on. Dude, for whenever I see Striking Scorpions, though, all I can think about is the Path of the Eldar books. Those are,
I still need to read through them.
They're... Okay, so when I read them, I thought, these are fun, these are good, I enjoy these, but from what I've seen in the community at large, just, like, Eldar fans do not enjoy those books.
I mean, the closest I've read to it is Path of the Dark Eldar, which has had a different author, because that was Andy Chambers rather than Gav Thorpe. And for what it's worth, I really enjoyed Path of the Dark Eldar.
I haven't read that one, but I'm trying to think of the way to describe people's complaints without like spoiling anything. I think the best way to describe it, I guess, is
long-winded.
Not even okay. So like I'm assuming this happens in Path of the Dark Eldar too. Like each book of the trilogy takes place from a different character's point of view, and they kind of all happen in the same chronology. So like the start of the first character's book happens like just ever so slightly before the start of the second book from a second character's point of view. But they have a lot of like the same conversations, but you kind of see the other side.
Right, okay.
The main character of the first one becomes a striking scorpion, and you like that's right on the cover. That's not like a major spoiler or anything. But he kind of crashes out after he talks to his crush and gets rejected, and that like just spirals into him kind of being an emo. And we're like, yeah, no, this kind of just shows Eldars being kind of just shitty. I'm like, no, I can get it. They're like heightened emotions. They're very sensitive, you know? That's the whole thing.
He got rejected by his crush, and all he could hear was crawling.
But like, there were so many fun little details that I enjoyed about it, and the way they kind of describe the whole like the different warrior paths and like how the people choose their own, and like the way that kind of changes things. And I mean, the second book is Path of the Seer, I think it's called. And like the character in that one is like becomes like a Farseer, so like it's her whole thing, and yeah, I'd at least recommend giving them a shot.
Fair enough. Right, considering that there isn't really much else in the news, let's quickly jump into the questions. There's only 3 this week, from what I can see. So let me just bring them up very quickly. Right, okay. If I can, there we go. Right, question 1, which is a multi-part question. How does permanently killing demons work? I have no idea, because it's something very esoteric. It's very esoteric.
Yeah, I think from the top of my head, from my very limited knowledge on this bit of lore, I don't think it really happens all that much. And when it does, it's like I know,
big deal.
Yeah, like I know the Emperor permanently killed Horus's soul, like when during their big fight.
Yeah.
And that's like the one big example I can think of like a soul being completely annihilated with no hope of recovery or reformation. Because even like the biggest like shots at like demons and stuff in lore and stories, they usually just end up going back to the warp and coming back a couple 100 years later or something.
Yeah, I mean, there have been some instances where there was a demon being permanently killed, like in the Asurman novel, for instance, Asurman permanently kills a demon prince.
Oh.
And in one of the Dark Imperium books, Gilliman ends up permanently killing like a Great Unclean One, I think, with the Emperor's Sword.
Okay.
I got more to the question. Does permanently killing a demon delete the warp energy it was made from, or simply render that energy incapable of reforming into that particular personality/entity? I have no idea, to be honest, but considering that energy cannot be created or destroyed, only transformed into different forms, if it did follow real-world physics, it probably would just be transformed into a different form.
Yeah.
But the warp doesn't run on real-world physics, so
yeah.
I assume it would just like go, I don't know, yeetus deletus or something, I don't know.
I think it must be one of the two, because if like, I can totally see the energy that like creates that demon being completely annihilated and gone, and that demon is no longer around ever. But there's still so much, like, because the warp, before there was all like the Eldar around and like all the different species, was calm and relatively fine. And then it got more tumultuous the more souls there were in the galaxy, and like emotion fed into it. So it kind of, I would imagine as well, considering that emotion and thoughts and feelings don't have like if you as a human being are like very sad or very angry or whatever, you don't like, I guess you consume more energy as like a physical being, but you can be incredibly angry or like just a little angry, and you're still kind of consuming the same amount of calories in your body at the same time, so it doesn't equate 1-to-1. So I guess, I don't know. I guess either would work. I think it would be more fun to say that the energy is completely destroyed, but there's enough energy in the warp that it doesn't really matter, I guess.
Right, and the next part of this question, does permanently killing a demon cause, quote, real harm to a chaos god that they're a part of? If I had to guess, I'd say potentially, but it wouldn't be necessarily perceptible. It'd probably be like the equivalent of like, I don't know, like chipping a fingernail or something.
Yeah.
At most. It would depend on like what type of demon was killed, because if it was like, say, a Nurgling, I don't think Nurgle's going to give two shits about it. But if it was like a really powerful Great Unclean one, then Nurgle might go, "Ah, what the fuck was that?"
Yeah. Like, I
Like,
don't
it
think
could have like him popping a zit or something.
Yeah, like, they're not directly wounded, but they'll definitely take notice. Like, hey, who did that? Who's around here messing with my shit?
Hey, I liked Steve.
Yeah.
Justice for Steve.
Justice for Steve.
Right, and the last part of this question: if it was possible to permanently kill a Chaos God, would they simply be replaced by an equivalent, or would it remove the concepts that are represented from the minds of mortals?
Ooh.
I would assume that a new being would emerge to take its place.
I would imagine so.
Because, like Khorne, for instance, Khorne's like a war god, essentially. You know, in his most simple terms, he is a war god. But he's not the only war god, because, like, you know, Kayla Mencha is also a war god. So I think the void would be filled by, like, a god with a similar enough role. Like, say if they get rid of, like, Nurgle goes, boop, bye-bye. Then a horn rat might just turn and go, oh, I hear there's a spot available.
Yeah.
I'm a rat, I'm full of disease, you know, kind of thing.
It might be
I can
like
fill that role.
that, like, in the meantime, when, like, there's this empty space, and of course, like, the remaining Chaos Gods are probably trying to gobble up as much, like, space and energy as possible. But, like, the concept of diseases and the concept of plagues and, like, all the other various bits of, like, and, like, stagnation and resilience and all the other aspects that, say, if Nurgle was destroyed, if they were destroyed, all the aspects he kind of covers, I imagine would have individual little Chaos Gods that kind of appeared and then maybe re-amalgamate over time to be a replacement for Nurgle. Whether they would, like, in, like, Elder Scrolls lore, they, like, mantle and become Nurgle and it's, like, nothing really changed, or if they become a whole new god that just covers the same areas. I don't know.
It might be something similar to what happened with Age of Sigmar, because, like, when Warhammer Fantasy went bang, bye-bye, pretty much all the gods from that setting were killed off. And you had a whole bunch of new gods come and take their place. Like, all the elven gods were killed, all the human gods were killed off, with the exception of Sigmar. Yeah, and you had, like, you know, guys like Tyrion and Teclis became gods, Nagash became a god, etc. So, potentially something like that? I don't know.
Yeah.
Right, next question. What would you want from your favourite armies in the future, miniature-wise?
Ooh. So that's tough because I bounce between what my favorite army is all the time. I guess right now it's Tyranids. What would I want for to be added to the Tyranid roster?
If I could interject in regards to Nids, redesign the Biovore to make it less like a spider and go back to the older design, because that was objectively better.
What was the... Oh, was it the old one? Was like where it was more of like a hunched over kind of gorilla kind of thing, right?
Yeah, because the whole point about Biovore is that they're made from orc DNA.
Oh, I didn't know that.
So, like, it's made from orc DNA. Why does it look like a spider? A spider with a giant throbbing penis on its back.
Yeah, giant.
It's like, no. I mean, if they made it a brand new creature, like, I don't know, the Arachnivore or something like that, people are like, okay, fair enough. But, like, Biovore? No, mate. No. I mean, just take the Pyrovore and just say this is a Biovore now. We scrapped the Pyrovore because the Pyrovore was shit because it kept blowing up.
Part of me is really tempted, and I wonder if this is a mix of like just how I enjoy like certain aesthetics and like how much I'd love to have like a small Tyranid commander to paint, like because whenever it's like okay, I want like a Tyranid commander for my army, and you have like at smallest a Tyranid Prime. When otherwise it's like a Hive Tyrant or like a Neuro Tyrant and like that. I would kind of like a sort of Queen of Blades style Tyranid model. Obviously keep it very Tyranid, don't have it like a Tyranid with a human face. Make it full Tyranid in appearance, but something that's a bit more even like Space Marine, like Primaris Marine sized. Style it on the whole, I don't know, Locus of the Hive Mind, like it's you know like a very psychic based commander or whatever, but great in good in close combat. unnerving to, I guess, like human combatants, because it's like it has like humanoid qualities, but still keep like digitigrade legs and the hooves and the scything talons and all that kind of thing. But just something a little on the human scale as like a commander kind of thing.
See, now you said that, you just reminded of that old shitpost regarding the Neurolictor. When someone photoshopped it to have like gloves and stockings.
Look, all I'm saying is wood. Like the thigh highs and the long gloves, like mwah, beautiful design. I think someone's painted their one like that. I remember seeing someone doing that with their model, and it, you know what? Yeah, no, I get it. I understand. I actually may have do you know the artist Luis Abadias?
No.
Okay, he mainly voices. He mainly paints and does like art for of various like monster stuff. Works a lot with a YouTuber called Tiefling Melissa, and they like he draws a lot of dragons and a lot of like sort of D&D monsters, or like Monster Hunter stuff. Me and him like worked on a little thing in private where I voiced basically the Neurolictor with the thigh highs and the long gloves, and was all like, "Oh, you want to get devoured for the hive mind, don't you?" Like kind of really fully seductive kind of thing.
Oh god.
I'll need to turn that into a full shitpost someday.
Fair enough. As for me, in regards to my army, well, my army of choice is Night Lords, and aside from like porting over more of the Forge World stuff, I can't think of what else to possibly add, with the exception of Atramentar Terminators, because we've got the Contacar, but I don't think we've actually ever had models for the Atramentar.
Yeah.
So yeah, give me Atramentar Terminators.
That was pretty sick. I recently actually finished reading the Night Lords Omnibus. So good. It's honestly
So
it made the Night Lords my favorite Trader Legion. As shitty and awful as they are, I love them.
Awesome. Have you read Lord of the Night?
I've not, no.
Which was the very first Night Lord novel.
Unless that is part of the trilogy. I'm just remembering the
not.
omnibus. Okay, then I have not read that one.
Because funnily enough, it's also because that novel where they actually had to change who the first captain of the Night Lords was during the Horus Heresy, because that book established it as someone completely different.
Classic.
Because in that book, the first captain was Jo Sahal, but in the Heresy series it was changed to Jago Savatarian. And the reason they had to change it is because the author of Lord of the Night, Simon Spurrier, apparently, and I say apparently because I don't know for certain, but apparently he had like a major falling out with Games Workshop, and they said, well, we're not going to use your fucking character then. Apparently Aaron Dembski-Bone did reach out to ask, hey, can I actually use this character in a story? But apparently he never heard back. Again, I don't know how true this is. This is purely like, I heard, so take it with a pinch of salt, obviously.
Yeah.
But it would make some sense if that was indeed the case.
I'm thinking of there was some other weird discrepancy between like certain books where it was I know in the Night Lords Omnibus they talk about what was his name, the raptor, the leader of the raptors that were with Talus. What's his name?
Coryphus?
Yeah, I think
Coryphus.
Yeah, how
Coryphus, yeah.
He talks about he was the first one on the wall at the Siege of Terra, and then I think isn't it Karn talks about like in his novel how he was the first on the wall.
Yeah.
There's like a bunch of characters who all claim they were the first one to get on top of the wall during the Siege of Terra.
Yeah, pretty much. Though the Siege novels did turn around and say like Luke Coryphus was actually the first traitor to get inside the palace. Because he got teleported by the fire, by like this weird psychic fire. It's like, boom. Oh, I'm in the palace now. Okay, I'll take it. Yay! I'm here first. Suck it, Khan. Right. If the Lair Blade didn't do it, would Fulgrim have sent it to Chaos still?
Oh, I honestly don't know. I think the Lair Blade was probably the thing that kickstarted it. I think he definitely had the potential to fall regardless. Considering he was so, maybe not self-absorbed, but so
prideful.
Yeah, prideful and very much focused on perfection in like every form. And when you're that focused on being perfect, you're gonna start like losing your shit eventually.
Yeah.
I think it might have been a slower fall. because there's a few, these are like very vague memories, but isn't there like a few moments where he had the opportunity to actually end the heresy before it even began, but he just had that little doubt because of the Lair Blade's influence that he didn't do anything.
Something like that. I can't remember exactly. Again, it's been a very long time since I read that book, so...
I think it's something on the lines of, like, Fulgrim's fleet is, like, there next to Horus, and there's, like, this... Horus is, like... He kind of knows Horus is turning traitor and should, like, pull the pin and fire and, like, wipe out all the Luna Wolves while they have the chance to. But he just doesn't, because the Lair Blade's just whispering in the back of his mind. So maybe he wouldn't have. Maybe he still would have gone like down that route anyway with the guild if he had tried to stop it. I don't know. I'd say probably, but with a much slower descent.
I'm just reminded of that one scene from Futurama. You know, all I know is that my gut says maybe. Okay, last question. If I can get to load up. No, fucking YouTube comments. Right. Could Rogel Dawn have been slightly corrupted by Khorne when Khorne trapped Dawn in the Endless Desert during the End of Death Part 3? It would explain why Dawn and the Imperial Fist went to the Iron Cage with such reckless abandon, and to a lesser extent why his sons say that he was a changed man after the Siege of Terra. Others, I kinda like this idea.
Yeah, I can kinda see it.
Though part of me just thinks, like, it could just be, like, the result of what is effectively an equivalent to, like, PTSD.
Yeah.
Changing him, you know, because, you know, having all that stress put upon you, like, right, your responsibility is to oversee the defense of the palace. You're responsible for shoring up its defenses. You're responsible for organizing everything. Regardless of how, like, you know, mentally stable a Primarch may be when compared to, like, a normal human, that's a lot of pressure.
Yeah. Especially even though you won and you did your job correctly, your father, the God Emperor, is still dead. Like, you still kind of failed, even though you did everything right with what limited resources
you did your best, and the best wasn't good enough, essentially.
Yeah. Like, that would be hard on anyone, but especially, like, a Primarch held up to such high standards. Like, even though, against all odds, against, like, a numerically superior foe, with using sorcery and other, like, chaos stuff and summoning demons and all the rest of it, he still held out and won. The siege was still, like, a win on Rogel Dorn's part. Still a loss, and that's gonna hurt. That's gonna mess up anyone's head. Like, no matter how, like, stubborn... Like, I guess actually because he's so stubborn. And chances are he wanted to score this... Like, him and, I always mix up Iron Hands and Iron Warriors. The Iron Warriors are Perturabo. Rogel Dorn and Perturabo always had a rivalry going on. So I guess it's for him to kind of lose it and go so hard at the Iron Cage, probably a mix of self-loathing and wanting to knock up a win on the chalkboard, like a proper win.
You could also say it's like, you know, a quest for redemption in a sense as well.
Yeah, like if you can, like, you know, wipe out the Iron Warriors and kill Perturabo and get it over with and done, then he's at least done something good, but we all know how that turned out.
Yeah, not very well. Right, that's it for the questions. This might end up being a slightly shorter episode this week, and for that I apologize preemptively. But I will ask, have you been reading anything recently?
Yeah, I recently picked up the Araman Omnibus. I grabbed it for when I was flying over to... When did I grab it for? Yeah, I was flying over to Canada for TennoCon, and then I was sort of reading it on flights to and from, and I went to the States earlier, so I was reading on the flight there, and it's so far pretty good. I'm still in the first part of the Omnibus, and it's really interesting. I'm really digging it. To kind of go over what I've read so far without doing too many spoilers.
In fairness, you can do spoilers because it's an old book now, so it's fine.
Okay.
Grace period's gone, so.
Okay, cool. So Araman, like, when it starts off, like, it talks about him, like, his kind of backstory, who he is, and there's, like, an author's note talking about how they slightly changed some parts and added in sort of in-between records from, like, a chronicler that's like, yeah, so Araman said he was doing it for this reason. That's all fucking bullshit. He's doing it because he's a selfish dickhead, da-da-da-da, and, like, sort of gives another point of view on his actions. Because when you're reading it, the author's right. He does come across as, like, a pretty good guy stuck in like a really shitty scenario. But then when you look into what he actually does and what he's doing, it's like, yeah, no, Armin, you're terrible. You're an awful person. Because he starts off pretending to be a low-grade sorcerer that barely knows how to do magic in some random warband. And then while he's kind of trying to like go along and sort of keep undercover, because he partially it's through guilt for what happened with the rubric, and also partly because he just never wants to touch magic, really wants to stay away from chaos and just do his own thing and knows that he's fucked up and kind of just wait for a slow death kind of thing. It's like he wants to die but doesn't want to take his own life kind of thing. Yeah. And then along comes one of the other 1,000 Sun sorcerers that was to do with the rubric, looking for him. And then that kicks off a whole tumble of him going on like a journey looking for other members of the sorcerers that made the rubric. And everywhere he goes, he just finds either bodies or dust, doesn't find anything. Lots of conversations with demons, which is always fun. There's these constant visions that pop into his head. And it's the way they describe how the magic works through him too, how like sorcery and rituals work. So cool. I love how they do there's a similar vibe with Armin's shipping crew and Talos's shipping crew from the Night Lord's Omnibus, because it's similar. It's like, oh, they're both like on the run. They're both jumping from place to place. They both have a navigator that's not quite happy to be there. I guess in Armin's case, it's more of a, was it like a heretic, but not quite. She's not like full chaos, like doing demon smithing and shit. She's just a kind of just a heretical tech priest. She's not gone full. She's just outside the Mechanicus' doctrine because she kind of bonded with a Mechanicus battleship and stole it. And just keeps forcing the navigator to jump around. But yeah, no, really, really good book so far. I need to keep reading more of it. I've been really enjoying that one.
Awesome. I've been making my way through the High Cow's Oath, which is the new squat book.
Oh.
I'm about a third of the way through, and I have to say, because I've seen some mixed response in regards to this book. Like, some people really like it, some people don't. And I can see why some people don't like it. I mean, I'm enjoying it, personally, thus far. I'm enjoying it. But the reason why I can see why some people don't like it is because it does get very long-winded. Like,
okay.
It does spin its wheels quite a bit. Like, do we really need to have this long spent describing this particular scene? Is like, just get on with it, kind of thing. But there is some great stuff in it so far, like an interaction between the squats and an Imperial battle fleet. They welcome like the Imperials aboard their ship, but as they do, it's like, hang on, what's that in the hold? Oh, just a golden Aquila. Yeah, the Imperials might get a bit pissed off if we have one of them. Well, we salvaged it from that ship. Yes, but that ship wasn't wrecked until we got to it, wasn't it? Just hide it under a blanket. So there is some actually genuinely funny moments in it. I'll probably go into more detail once I've finished reading it. Actually, given the time, I'll talk about a bit of it now, just because otherwise we're going to be ending now. It's like that'd be a very short fucking episode. So we open up with a prologue depicting a fight between the squats and the orcs, and the High Kahl has been mortally wounded, and he's brought his champion over to him and it's like, I need you to go and deliver a message to the hold. It's like, no, Michael, my place is with you. I swore an oath to stand by your side forever and ever. It's like, yes, but you also swore an oath to do what I bloody say. Now get to it. It's like, oh, please pick someone else. Like, will you stop whining? Just do what you're told. Oh, okay. And then we cut to like a privateer vessel, a group of privateer vessels rather, who are trailing behind a Nidbio ship. It's like, right, we're gonna harvest this thing.
Oh no! Oh no!
Yeah, they literally board it and start harvesting it. And the Nids are waking up. Don't worry, we find we just need to hold up a bit so we can plant these these demolition charges to take out its respiratory functions. It's like locomotive functions rather. Just cut away through the muscle. Oh, there's new creatures swimming in the mussels. Oh, the Nids have actually started learning that we're doing this to them. Huh.
Oh.
We better stop doing this then in future. But even so, they ended up slicing the ship in half with like a mining laser as well. It's like, right, that's dead. Let's start harvesting it.
You would have thought they'd have done that first.
You think, but then again, they didn't want to necessarily damage too much of the product.
True.
Yeah, they're businessmen at the end of the day. The leader of the expedition is a woman called Myrton, and she's like, she's getting old now. She's like, this is going to be her last, venture out before she goes back to become an honored ancestor and all that. And she's not happy about it because, like, I got more adventures in me, grr. But she gets like a message to return to the hold. Why do I need to return to the hold? Oh, because the Votan has chosen you to be the new High Kahl. What? Yep, you're going to be in charge now. But I'm just like a privateer. It's like, yeah, well, the Votan have picked you. I don't make the rules. And so Myrton's like, God, I really don't want to go back. I don't want to go back. Oh, what's that? Oh, there's a distress signal from an Imperial ship nearby. Yeah, let's go investigate it just so I don't have to go back. Yeah, it gives me something to do. Come on, lads. Whee. And they find like some Imperial ships under attack by like a Chaos fleet. They join and they help beat the Chaos fleet back. And they said, right, we're going to sit here and watch your back while you make repairs to your ship, just because we know we're good lads. And then you can pay us afterwards. Thank you very fucking much. Because we're all about the money. Money, money, money. And all that. And they invite the Imperial crew on board their ship for dinner, which has that little situation with the Imperial Aquila, hide it under a blanket. And I would say it was really difficult to understand the Imperial characters in this so far because Gav wrote them with a really weird accent. Hang on, let me just... I got the book with me. Let me just try and find an example. Because it's really... It's written... what's the term? Phonetically? Like the way the words are done. Where is it? Oh God, where is it? I found the captain. Where is it? Oh yeah. The bringer of war is a tough old bastard, been serving the emperor for 5,000 years and more. Tough ratings to the big burn of the sheep. Undisciplined too. Thy knew of the stripe fearing a good flogging was for the survivors. The good to give them a fear of you more than the enemy. That's literally how the Imperials are speaking, and it's like, what are you saying?
Oh my god. I could pick out most of that, but still, holy shit.
From what I can gather, I think it says, the bringer of war is a tough old bastard, been serving the Emperor for 5,000 years and more, tough ratings to the backbone of the ship, and discipline to something stripped fearing. Oh, a good flogging was for the survivors, that got them to give a few more than the enemy, or something. It's... It's one of those things like, I don't know what the fuck I'm reading, so I have to try and read it out loud just to try and make sense of it. It's like, oh, okay.
Yeah.
But yeah, at the dinner, the Myrton's like, her adjutant, Luthar, who's an Ironkin, and has to try and hide the fact he's an Ironkin. And you know the Ironkin have got like the dome-shaped heads?
Yes.
She says like, right, just darken the glass to make it look like you're just wearing a mirrored helmet. Okay. There you go. All good. Right, everyone, let's get drunk. And Myrton's second in command, who's like the captain of the Einhir, the half guard, or halfkin or whatever they're called, the ones in the exo armor. He's having like a conversation with the Imperial engine seal, the Mechanicus Tech Priest, and Myrton's like, oh god, this is not going to go well at all, because the Einhir's like, oh yes, I'm sure there's a magical space god powering all machines. Ooh, spooky. and Mechanic's like, are you insinuating my religion's fake? It's like, insinuating? No, flat out telling you. And it's like, starts causing like a huge argument between the Imperials and the squads. It's like, Myrton's like, oh god, it's going to be a huge fucking punch up, isn't there? Shit. And then the Imperial captain says, all right, okay, we're leaving. Thank you for being gracious hosts. I'm sorry that we weren't gracious guests. Bye. So, you know what? That was surprisingly mature on the behalf of an Imperial captain.
Yeah. That could have gone much worse.
It could have gone much worse, yeah. The squads end up going back to their hold ship, where Miriton's like taken to like the Council of Ancients, whatever it's called, to become made the new High Kahl. I was like, right, you're now the High Kahl elect. Right, so what have I got to do? Okay, well, you got about 20 people petitioning an audience with a Kahl. Okay, is that it? No, that's not it. And you got about 500 pages of paperwork to get through. And it's like, oh, for fuck's sake. All this bureaucracy and red tape. Well, can we just do the petitions first, get that out of the way, and then we can focus on the paperwork later? Oh, I suppose so. Breaking tradition, you upstart rapscallion. And she welcomes the first petitioner in, and the petitioner's like, hello, High Kahl, I got to do this. I want to do this, this, and this. But then someone just barges into the audience chamber, and it's the bodyguard from the prologue. I was like, I bring an urgent message for the new High Kahl. The petitioner's like, excuse me, I was here first. And the bodyguard's like, shut the fuck up or I'll knock you the fuck out. Essentially. I was like, what's all this? I have a message for you. And that's where I've gotten to so far.
Okay.
But yeah, it's like seems to be starting to pick up a bit. And there are some genuinely good moments of humour in this, I have to say. But again, I can see why people are put off by the book, because it does get very long-winded in parts.
Yeah.
Like, it's very slow to start turning, but I think now the wheels are starting to turn, I think it's going to start picking up more and more in the near future. So check out next episode for more, I suppose.
Ooh, that's what I look forward to.
Mm.
See, I had a double whammy of when I recently got back into like reading 40k books. I started off with the Infinite and the Divine, which is absolutely fantastic. I loved it like from front to back. Such an incredible book, because the best way I can describe it in the shortest amount of words is it's toxic old man robot yaoi on a treasure hunt. It's absolutely perfect.
Yeah, I've heard it very much described as like a gay rom-com, in a sense.
It pretty much is. The first like third of the book is just the two of them, like Trazyn and Orkin look at each other just going, bastard. Like just back and forth.
It's like, I hate you too, let's fuck.
pretty much. All they do is like constantly berate each other all the time. There's a bit where they get into a fight in like Trazyn's museum, and the way they describe it is like the sound is it's like titanic forges with sparks flying and these ringing metal sounds as these two like hulking monstrosities beat the shit out of each other. But when you actually watch them, it's just two nerds having a slap fight because they're old men. They don't know how to fight like hand to hand. So they're just kind of slap fighting each other. It looks like pathetic, but because they've got necrodermis, there's these giant like punches being made. Whenever they miss, like there's chunks of wall flying all over the place. It's so good. If you've not read it, do it. It's so good. I don't even want to like spoil anything for you because there's so many amazing bits in there.
I'll be honest, the only thing I really know about the Infinite Divine, aside from it being a gay rom-com, is the fact that Trazyn gets eaten by a dinosaur.
Yes, he does get eaten by a dinosaur. From what I've heard as well, I heard one snippet, the audiobook of it is also very, very well done. There's a lot of dry humor in the way that the reads are done for the two of them, from the clips I've seen. So I definitely recommend that. That was an amazing start. And then I read Pilgrims of Fire, which is a Sisters of Battle book. Oh boy, the leap could not have been greater in quality. It's a decent book if you like the Adeptus Sororitas. If you're a fan of them and you like their stuff and their theming, it's pretty good. It's decent enough. It's you know, I wouldn't say it's terrible, but its pacing is all over the place. So it's set after the Cicatrix Maledictum, like split the galaxy in two. I think it was, from what I remember, it was set before they slightly changed the timeline. I can't remember which way around it is, but I think the book, is set 100 years after the Cicatrix Maledictum, but now they've changed it so the current Imperium stuff is 10 years after the Cicatrix Maledictum opened, I think.
Okay.
Or the other way around, I can't remember. One of the two. The book is the wrong way around, but it came out before that change was made. So that's not the author's fault. And it starts off with like General Sisters of Battle are deployed in a world that's got like heretics, but it also kind of follows the Savlar Chem Dogs. They're like a penal legion.
I love those guys, yeah.
And like they're really fun. They've got a really cool thing. There's a lot of like really fun moments with them. It's a little weird kind of jumping between the two groups. But there's this one, you mainly follow one sister. And I forget their names because it's been like nearly 2 years, I think, since I read the book. And she has beef with this older sister who's of the same rank. They're not captains. I think they're like lieutenants or something, whatever like the equivalent rank is. They have like a command of some squads, but they're not like canonesses or anything.
Okay.
And they've got a bit of beef going. And you see later on in like a flashback, the main sister you're following was on a world that was having an uprising. And she was a little girl at the time, and her mum ran to the sororitas convent that was on the world, and the sororitas that answered the door is this older sister that's been beefing with the main character. And she only let the young girl in and didn't let her mum in, and basically forced her to listen to her mum being murdered outside the front door by rebels and heretics. Yeah, really awful stuff. And like there's this kind of intrigue of like, well, why did she do that? What's going on? And the main character talks to I forget the official position, but like a chronicler for the convent. And there's this moment like right at the end of the chapter where the chronicler like is like shaking and swallows and tries to put on a brave face because she knows why. And then they literally never bring it up again.
Oh.
It's never mentioned. It just disappears into the ether. That story never comes up again. And then the main plot is that they're going to be part of a fleet that crosses the Cicatrix Maledictum to try and save the worlds on the other side. And like one like big battleship goes through, and then a few hours later it comes back on its own as like an abomination. Like it's fully warp infested. It's got like mouths and tentacles and all the rest of it. They blow it up, and then the sisters are like, "We'll go. Our faith is really strong." So they go through. And they make it to the other side, battered and bruised, but they make it.
Mm-hmm.
And it kind of starts off on like this one world, and they sort of explore it a bit, and they realize, oh my god, these are the worlds that Saint Catherine walked on like her pilgrimage. And interspersed in this, and if I remember correctly, this is also the prologue, it shows you a completely different world with completely different characters. And they're like going around, there's this big parade, and there's this servant girl who is like, just a maid scrubbing floors, is given shit by the Sisters of Battle that are in this other convent. But it's found out that she has like healing powers. She like the Emperor works through her, and it keeps cutting back to her at random moments, and it's kind of jarring and all over the place. But eventually, at some point, demons invade this world, and it all goes to hell. And this like servant girl and a few Sisters of Battle end up alone at the top of the convent tower fighting off demons for potentially years. They never quite say, they don't give dates. But eventually, after like 2 chapters of basically the Sisters of Battle ship went to this planet, they found an artifact, so they went to this planet, and they found an artifact, so they went to this planet and followed the route of St. Catherine. And there's one scene where they arrive at a heretical space station, and they find a left behind, like, insane Chaos Space Marine. And the fight's over in, like, half a page.
Oh.
Like, it's all this build-up, and then they just leave. There's a bit where, when they get to that world where, like, those demons appeared, and it kept cutting back to, and they, like, drop a bunch of, like, you know, like, the Fortress Monastery, like, churches they would drop in Dawn of War Soulstorm?
Yeah.
They basically deploy a bunch of those to the planet's surface. Which is a cool visual, I can't deny. It's really awesome. So, and then they're like hanging in orbit, and a bunch of Chaos ships have been following them, and they start getting boarded, and they talk about a bit where like the main character and like some other sisters go into the hangar bay, and it says, she killed 3 Marines. And it's like, can we have that described? Can we see how it happened? I want to know what happens. You're just telling me she killed them. How? And like, oh, there's so many potential moments for greatness that just kind of get, like...
Was this Sororita Squirrel Girl by any chance? Like, she killed them all off screen.
Yeah, she just, like, oh, like, what? Like, if there'd been, like, there's a few moments where there is, like, good amounts of detail in the fighting. But just so much of it is just it drags in some parts, and then stories. There's one sister who is having like psychostigmata, like the wounds of Saint Catherine are appearing on her body, and like this is also the book, if I remember correctly, that if the book is still canon, which it may not be anymore, I don't know, but as far as I'm aware, it still is canon, this book canonized the fan theory that Sisters of Battle have their hair white because that original sister that went in to see the Emperor because of fucking Goj Vandire was so in shock seeing the Emperor, her hair turned white, they canonized, they bleach all their hair white to copy her.
Fair enough.
So that's now canon to 40k through that book. So, there's, I remember reading it and finishing it. I'm like, that can't be, because, oh god, no, I forgot as well. The sisters that are fighting at the top of this tower, eventually some reinforcements come, like from the main character and such. But in the meantime, that maid girl who like had magic healing power through the Emperor, she's given the rights to become a Sister of Battle and given like the armor of another sister to wear. And these like 3 or 4 other remaining sisters that were like fighting at the top of this convent know how to like plug the neuro sockets and stuff to plug the armor into your body. They just do that to her. I don't know how. They just sort of do it. And then the maid girl, during the fighting, a like bloodthirster breaks through the wall after climbing up to the top and like kills one sister, then goes to like swing at her. And the maid girl like grabs this broken sword on an altar, and it reforms into a flaming blade, and she becomes a living saint. And it all happens so quickly and so all over the place. It's dear God. If you like cool Sister Battle stuff, there's some in there, but so much of it is just a mess.
It sounds like an episode of like Power Rangers. I have to say.
It kind of is. Yeah, like there's a lot of like, all right, cool, here's our cool grand quest. All right, guys, we're at the end of the cool grand quest. Like, well, why can we not see it? Can we not see what you guys did? Please?
Right. It's an episode of Power Rangers, but unfortunately it's Operation Overdrive.
It's so weirdly paced where stuff drags on, but then it rushes so quickly to stuff that would have been so cool to see.
Yeah, it sounds it. Oh dear.
But yeah.
And on that note, ladies and gentlemen, we shall call it there for this episode. So, thank you very much to everyone who tuned into this episode. We hope you enjoyed it. And thank you very much to Voice Quills for joining me this episode.
Thank you so much for having me.
You're welcome. Sorry it's a bit shorter than usual. It would have been longer if we had Neve to pipe in with her opinions on the Age of Sigmar stuff, but unfortunately, it is what it is. But until next time, everyone, this has been Remleiz from 40k Theories.
And I've been Voice Quills.
And we'll see you again next time. Bye-bye.
Bye-bye.